Yay, hello, and welcome to this week training at Tuesday Live. We're Magnet Marketers. Our goal is always to help you become a magnet with your marketing versus being a bullhorn. And today we're going to be diving in to the beautiful world of collaboration. How you can collaborate with your community without having a referral regret. So we have some stories to share with you on how collaborations could be a great thing, but how you got to be careful so you don't get into a situation that can ruin your word. The only thing we really own, truly own, is our word. And we wanted to make sure that you really, can be trusted by your community to refer others on. So stick with us today as we dive into all that goody stuff and how you can really, truly collaborate. But before we dive in, my name is Jessika Phillips. We've not met before. I'm the president of Now Marketing Group and the Relationship Marketing System. And my awesome co-host, he's Mike Gingerich. He's the president of Digital Hill, the co-founder of the popular app Swapdio, Tab Site, and published author extraordinaire. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, doing well. I mean, wow, it's September already. Isn't that amazing? Time flies, and I'm it's probably my two favorite seasons. I'm a summer guy, but I'm a fall. I appreciate fall as well. So
are you the pumpkin spice latte kind of guy, or what?
I definitely need to try one just because it's that time of year. Yeah.
And hello to everyone that's already joining us. Good to see you, Louisa. Always love seeing your smiling face in here. So hello to you. Yeah. Hello, Jen. And Facebook user, if you were in a group, sometimes you just need to accept the privacy settings so we can see your name. But whoever you are that said hello to us, hello to you as well. Make sure to drop us a comment to let us know that you're watching along with us. And that way we can pull you into this conversation, because I'm sure all of us have probably been in a couple of these scenarios that we're going to talk about, but hopefully not.
Yeah. Yes. And we got Chad in the house as well. So he's one of those that I'm seeing. Yeah. So thanks for stopping. But collaboration is critical. It's important. It can multiply business, but be handled with care, right?
Yeah, collaboration is awesome. I mean, that's what we're doing here, right? So I love it. We met at Social Media Marketing World on a bus together, and we're able to, start talking about relationship marketing and digital, and realize there was some synergy and started collaborating together. That's the beautiful thing, because lots can happen from that. I've referred business to you, you've referred business to me, and there's greatness that can come out of it. So collaboration with your community is huge. That's what I want to first say, right? And there's many ways that we push collaboration, Mike, just using our example, where people can have a live show together. But the beautiful thing about collaboration, first and foremost, is that the whole goal of it is to align two individuals or multiple individuals together for a common goal or purpose, where you have a like-minded tribe of others that you're trying to add value to. That should always be the foundation of collaboration, right? and building and strengthening your community, in which, like I said, this live show is a great way of doing it. There's been several other ways that we've done things together. And Mike, I know you've done as well, like your podcast, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a lot of people on there, interviewed, that type of thing, and been a guest on other podcasts. And then in the written word, I think the where we've shared blog posts, that type of thing together, and there's a lot of potential there, just because it can show, because a lot of times there are, as you said, there's synergies, and and again, it's like this: if someone trusts you and you are having someone there, then there is a inherent trust that's initially passed on to that other person. So you have to be, that's what is called you have to be a good steward of that. And that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the good ways of doing this, but then get into kind of the bad and some of our personal stories that have happened very recently, even on this show. We've had that before, where it's just been a learning experience, both, again, a good reminder for myself, as well as something I want to share with the community, because I found this coming up more and more often now that we're working more digitally, right? So as Mike said, great ways of collaboration. One, of course, the perfect way is meeting someone. You can connect with them, talk with them, get to know them, and then they're part of your tribe. And then you can bring them into different things like a podcast or a live show or a blog roundup. I've had this many times where I try to feature someone in each of our blogs, or I'll ask them for their participation and sharing good nuggets of information, and want to highlight them because that's only shining the light on others, which shines the light back on us. And they're going to be someone that's going to share it out, which that's what you want. Same thing with online events. Many events want you to be an affiliate of that event, and you're sharing it out. So again, everything that this comes back to, though, is what you're sharing and who you're aligning yourself with speaks back on you. So every event that you're endorsing, every app or software you're endorsing goes back again to you, no matter how much money is involved. So here's where it can get tricky, I guess. And here's where what's been the sticking point and what I've seen come up again, and even a realization for myself. So I'll share a couple horror stories, if you will. So the very first one was, again, meeting someone, connected with them, knew them, trusted them, they're a friend. And I host a social media event, Social Media Week Lima, in Lima, Ohio each year. And this was a few years back. It was like 4 years back. I was looking to get new people in from out of town, and connecting with one of my friends, she had mentioned a woman that she really thought could be a great person for helping out at the event. I don't want to say what the role was because I don't want anyone to know who this is. But this individual, then I had a quick phone conversation with this individual, and they shared with me all their accolades and everything, and a little bit about them. And I went ahead and extended the offer to put this person in a role at the event that was going to bring them on stage. This person then, once they got there at the event, they got on stage and it was like kind of hijacked. So anyone that knows me knows I am one that does not sell. I'm not pushy in sales. I am not trying to just get people at an event to sell them something hardcore there and be like very gimmicky, if you will. And unfortunately, once I had passed over that mic and I'd already put this person's name on the event, an event that's taken me years to build and where the community and tribe knows who we are, once they were on stage, my power was lost at that point, right? Because now they're on, this person's on stage. They went ahead and did this sales pitch, went straight off script from what we talked about, then had a posse of people kind of on the side where they are trying to sell their service. And then I was, cut it kind of short, or once I realized what was going on, but the damage had already been done because now this person was following up with these individuals that from the conference, the attendees, and kind of spamming them and getting kind of nasty if they weren't buying. And this reflected back on me because I gave this person kind of the permission to my community. So lesson learned,
Yeah. I mean, as you think back on that one, do you have any like key takeaways of things that you would do differently, or that you do differently now because of that?
Yes, absolutely. So now for the event, and then I'll talk about the most recent situation that also was a reminder, even if it's something small. So let me share that one first, and then we'll kind of break down if that's okay.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
all these kind of go back together. So the next example was very similar. You would think I'd learned the first time. It was very similar. It was actually, a show that we're doing, and I always say, here's the goal of the show. It's to be a magnet with your marketing versus being a bullhorn. It is to share best practices on relationship marketing. And my goal is to pick people that have very good zones of genius to share that thing, whether it be about personal goals and personal development or something they've done specifically with a social app. I don't care, as long as it really helps people love more, give more, and be more within their business. That goes back to my personal mission and aligns with relationship marketing. So I was reached out to a person by a person that's kind of connected in this space, met her, hung out with her a few times, and then I was referred into a person that they thought would be good for the show. And so I sent the questionnaire to them, and little did I know, though the questionnaire was not filled out by this person, the person that was being referred, it was filled out by the person that was referring them. And so I sent emails about, catching up and making sure we're all aligned on the same page with the show. And I hadn't heard back until a few minutes before the show. We got to chat on here before we went live. And again, I was like, hey, we don't sell on the show. We don't push. I have no problem with people finding you and wanting to buy from you, but I don't want this to be a pitch. Like, that's not, I respect people's time too much to give them just a pitch here. And it was kind of the opposite of that once they were there. But again, once I hit live and introduced this person into the show as a guest, I've given Mal my permission away. So now it reflects back on anyone that showed up here to join and know what we're about, to say, wait a minute, like, that feels, I was literally messaged right after the show by 4 different people that were like, that didn't seem like, your style. And it wasn't. So I went back and I deleted the show because I didn't want anyone else watching it. But at the same time, it made me realize again, okay, there has to be a process though, because our word again and our brands, no matter who you are, personal brand, whatever you're doing, writing a piece of content, referring somebody into a stage, sharing an affiliate link, whatever it is, we have to know and go back to that speaks on us and will be a direct reflection on us as an individual. So yeah, there's definitely some checklist items to go through so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. No, I think so. I think I've been there as well with the kind of the podcast interviewing, and one thing, kind of listening to you tell these two, which that I was experienced both of these with you, and from the podcast, and what you said triggers me to think back on some of my rough ones with podcast interviews. And one of the caveats that are commonalities, maybe is the right word, is that I think both these people were referred to you. Hey, I think so-and-so. And that was the same thing with my podcast, that the interviews that went south. It's like someone said, hey, I think so-and-so, would be, and then, and so you're trusting that intermediary, that person who says, I think this person would, and then, so I that's a caution now. It's like, if someone's just referring somebody, I'm going to be, so number one, I have to say, I gotta be, I gotta be careful there. And then number two, I just have to ramp up the vetting process, because it's the worst experience when you get in there, either that you've lost the platform and someone else is just going, to town with there, or else that, you're, it's falling flat, and the interaction is not energizing and smooth, that type of thing.
You can tell when it's off and it's not aligned. So there's no reason to have it anyway. But you hit on a really good point, and then we'll get into the questions to ask so you guys can avoid this too. But the big thing is referring in from someone else. You want to trust that person. So not only did it look bad for me personally, like was I like, man, I gotta apologize to my community. That's next week's show. Like, I'm showing up like, my bad, like, learn from me, because I don't want this to happen to anyone else, as well as that person that did the referring to me, like, our connection now, I'm kind of like, I don't know, like, if I'm going to like love them as a person and an individual, but maybe would question what the intentions were then with the referral. Right,
you're gonna be more hesitant if they bring somebody else.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be hesitant, and I'm gonna monster vet that.
Absolutely. So let's dive into some of the questions that can help you avoid this, as well as just some good things to know, like internally, to ask yourself, so you can build this community. Because again, a community is one of the greatest way. It's one of the things that's not for sale, right? Like, so there's no way of cheating in it. And it's one of the best ways to expand your reach organically. So collaboration through using your community is huge. We definitely want you to do it. Don't be afraid of it. Just go at it with some of these tips that we're going to share with you, because that could be a make or break where somebody's going to question what your personal brand stands for, your company brand, whatever, right? Or who you're referring in. Again, you may not even know that that was a negative experience. The person I reached out to, I was like, hey, just a heads up, this happened with the person you referred to me. Just want to give you a heads up in case you've referred them to any other of your connections. And they didn't know, like, they weren't there for the show. They didn't know, right? So again, just something to kind of think about first. But the first question really is like, knowing whoever, before you're going to collaborate with them, like, I ask on this questionnaire, and I'm going to now make sure it's like personal too, is like, what is your goal? Like, why do you want to collaborate on in this video, be on the podcast, the blog, whatever? What is your goal from it? Right. And just sit back and let them answer.
You need to have them extrapolate that. You know, what do they see as a benefit? What do they hope to, you know, what will it accomplish for them? How does it fit within what they do, and listen to that. What's their goal?
Yeah. And the next thing is like, who is your target audience? Because maybe their goal is valid, right? Like maybe they're teaching on something, or maybe they want to show up. Let's just say here, they came here and they wanted to show up on our show, and they're trying to teach people how to stage a home. Maybe they have a really great skill set, right? And they're like, we're going to show you how to stage a home. Okay. A value-added content, wrong audience, you know, wrong show.
There you go.
So who are you targeting? Like, who are you trying to get in front of that could most resonate with your message? So like for our show, if they're preaching like social media is not relationship building, probably the wrong audience for you. And all of us are going to be like, yeah, I don't know. You're just doing it wrong, right? Like, right. So knowing who their target audience is, because you don't want them to also fall flat, because maybe it's a great referral in, maybe it's a great connection. Again, maybe it's a great topic, but if it's presented to the wrong audience, then people are going to be like, well, that was a waste of my time. You know, they're going to have a bad experience and maybe not want to come back, as well as the person that's done the presenting is going to be like, well, their community is like very inactive, right? Just wrong channel.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. So yeah, who are they targeting? And you have to, then you have to see if there's, you know, does that cross over well or not, you know? So it also forces you to make sure, you know, who your audience is, what's that sweet spot that has been coming and that is part of your community. And then, you know, kind of trying to evaluate who are they targeting. And again, I want to differentiate as well. So right now you're asking questions that we want them to answer, which I think is good, but I think there's like, and that this is critical in it.
Yeah, there's going to be some internal ones that you'll ask too.
Exactly. You know? And there's some research that needs to be done to just go and then look at them and see, you know, because we will tell a lot by their website homepage, what they're emphasizing, their content, you know, some of their social. So that's, is that backing up what we heard them answer? Is there cohesion across that?
Very good point. Yeah. And is it drawing you in, right? Because you know your community. Hopefully, hopefully you have a good relationship with your community and you know what they're wanting to see. So great point. Search them out. And then just straight up ask them. And by the way, Jen, I love your comment here. Because it's interesting how we can frame our questions in a certain way to avoid certain things, but some folks will still find a way to sell. You are absolutely right. I was trying to get it back on track. I think you know the show I'm talking about. I was trying to get it back on track and frame the questions in a way of like, maybe they didn't mean what they said, how they said it that way. But either way, yeah, people are going to be their own brand, which I'm not trying to force anyone. I don't want anyone to mold to just be a robot here. My goal, or any person I'm collaborating with, the goal is to find your community that is like-minded individuals where you serve the same audience, or type of audience that are going to find value out of what's presenting. So the next question that you need to ask then is like, what is your beliefs? Like, what are you passionate about? What do you get fired up about, right? Like anyone that knows me or heard me speak, I say relationships about 1 million times a day. Like that's what jazzes me up. Like, what is that thing for the person? Like if they're passionate about something, you can tell that they truly care and aren't just trying to sell. You can feel it off of them when they respond, you know?
Yep. And then I think, you know, it's sometimes it's letting them say, you know, so what's key to you, as you said there, what do they believe? And then just sit back and kind of and listen and just reflect on what's where they steer that. Okay. Because I mean, somebody can, you know, the short answer, they may try to give you something that fits with what they think you want to hear. But if you're silent, you just continue to listen, what spins out after that, and listen for that.
Really great point. Like give that silent kind of time where people get a little uncomfortable unless they're fired up, that they're going to keep sharing. But another one that kind of tees off of that, Mike, and that's been the biggest one and red flag for me, is someone that leads with the accolades only.
Yes.
So they're saying and sharing like, oh, I've been featured on boo, and I've sold this many copies and
this many thousand of this,
and I speak on stages, right? Like leading with that, and that's how they're like showing up in a way of saying, you're lucky to kind of have me or something. I don't know. That's kind of how it comes up. But it's instead of presenting the passion points that could potentially let you know if there's some synergy there, they're presenting the kind of resume, surface level stuff that really doesn't mean. Unfortunately, today you can buy and go to Press Release Jet, spend $75, and you too can be as seen on ABC, NBC, Fox, and about 5,000 others for a small upgrade. So, not to that's great accomplishments, but it can't just be that.
Yep. But and you just have to listen for that. If it quickly goes to that and repeatedly goes to that, I mean, those are flags. Yeah. So because I think in a collaboration, you're looking for not just someone to jump on the pedestal and do a total talk about themselves, and so in the collaboration, you're looking at the audience benefit, the mutual benefit, and then so that's going to be something that is not going to be self-centered. So if someone's pitching, some self-centered, just reflections, that's all they can get to. It's a caution.
Yeah, and you don't need to do that anyway. Like, I mean, if I think of Brian Kramer or Angus Nelson, freaking love those guys, right? Like Brian Vanzo, there's so many amazing. Jen Herman, even. It wasn't her that was touting, when she was on a couple weeks ago about her book launch. Like, she just had a book launch. She wasn't trying to sell it. We were for her because of how good it was. And she didn't go in and say, oh, I've done this, this, and this, right? Angus Nelson, he was on here having marketing church, right? Like, never once is he dropping like, oh, I've done this, this, and this. Like those individuals, that's a really great example of who is passionate about what they do and how they show up. Because I'm a firm believer. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No,
go ahead. Firm believer in what?
No, that there's like three kinds of people in this world that I always say. I've shared this with the Queenies several times, and I'm just really trying to get better at identifying very quickly. And I say there's three kinds of people in this world. There's makers, takers, and fakers. Okay, so the makers are the people that they make stuff happen. They're going to connect with you. They have meaning in what they do. They really want to make an impact, right? Like the takers are going to be the ones that are just showing up to sell, what's in it for me, and really not having heart in what they do. It's like that hustle hard and just get stuff done. And then the fakers are ones that just you don't really know who they are. They're kind of like this today and that tomorrow. So I want to find the makers, like the makers in the community that you can work with.
Love that. Makers. I got to write that down. I'll put that in the comments.
Takers and fakers. The Queenies have been on me about getting this blog out that I've been going for 10 years, 10 lessons in business. But it's like 1,000 pages long right now. I got to trim it down. There's been a lot of lessons learned. This is one of them, people. But makers, takers, and fakers is one of those lessons in there. But that's really some of the core questions to kind of ask. And then, of course, have some nuggets, like if depending on your format of how you're collaborating or what the context is of that community building collaboration that you're doing. Like we have a questionnaire for magnet marketers on, what do you want to discuss? Who's it for? Kind of what's the key takeaways? What are you hoping to get out of this? That kind of stuff. But I think these meaningful conversations that you could have over the phone or, screen share, whatever, can really help you to know that you're making sure you're aligning with the right person. Yep.
And I think, what we learned over time is that somebody that won't give us time ahead of time is somebody we need to probably guard against, because
Yeah.
As you said, they're makers, takers, and fakers. So only time will tell you, and you want to do that quickly, but you need that time before you would go live to say, okay, what am I feeling? What am I sensing? How am I? What's the vibe that's coming across here? And if you can't even get them to take time to invest with you, that's a key. That
Amen.
you definitely want somebody that will. Yeah.
Hey, Eileen, good to see you on here.
Eileen, yes, it's been a while.
Oh my goodness, I know. I was just thinking the same thing. I was just thinking of you when I was checking out this new app, Eileen, called Run the World. Thought today it was kind of like Blab. It reminded me of the Blab days. So I was having Blab flashback reunions of everyone that I met there. But
yeah, well, and it was a great collaboration tool, wasn't it? I mean,
it is.
Find things like that. I mean, you look back over the course of time of some of the great collaborations. Blab was one of those, and you think April Heavens Woodcock, we did things with for years then, and Ravi, and he's with Agora Pulse doing things now, and you maintain those relationships with good people. Absolutely. And how many times you and I with Tyler Anderson, connected along the way, and social media marketing world, multiple years, and built that rapport. You've done something well.
You hit on something. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say you hit on something. I don't want to interrupt you, but you hit on something really quick that I don't want to forget. Is that we've stayed in contact over the years. That's a great way of knowing that you've met your match whenever in question. But I think you had a great point there. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
And it flows together then, and it flows over the course of time like that. So, but yeah, there's someone's willing to make time for you, and they're willing to support you, get behind you, and so they're not pushing their agenda. But I think I was just going to mention that in terms of collaborations, I mean, you've done some great ones that have given me other collaborations. I think it was the video ones. You had some, we do, maybe we've done that at least twice or something, where we get 1 minute
a couple times a year. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you combine those, and I don't know how many people you get, 25, whatever. It's a chunk, but it's an awesome group, and that's a collaboration. There's I usually will know maybe 75% of the group, but then I'm getting to acquainted with that other piece, that group, and there's some synergies that happen out of that. So multiple ways to do those types of synergies.
Yeah, I call everyone that's like on the same level. The synergy is the good vibe tribe, but that's why more people participate, because they see who else is included in it. And that's another kind of key point before we get into the questions to ask internally, is just like what Mike said. When you see like a group of people and you see the names there and who's participating sometimes in a collaboration, and the one he's talking about is that we've done several, but one is like how to build a craveable brand in 2020. So I just ask others that are digital marketers and just thought leaders on what's their top tip on being craveable in 2020, or we did like social media day. We've done several different collaborations like that, but I sent out to the good vibe tribe people and they all give like their minute video on helpful information. Yeah. And then we collaborate together and share that video out, and then everybody gets to promote it. So because it's now value added from all the people that, again, you have a similar goal in mind, a similar community that we're trying to serve, and that's why it works. But the beautiful thing happens there is because now when they all are aligned with each other, now they can also, you could be that connector. They can connect together, and now it's going to be a good representation. Now it's stuck out in Mike's mind, even share it here, because of how that was value added to him, right? Like now he's thinking, oh, you guys did a great thing. Oh, they did the work, like, and sending the videos. But because that connection was made in a positive way, that now it stands out and, as a good, positive, emotional experience and memory. Yep. Yeah,
absolutely. So you just those can have they can multiply their impact, but you can't shortchange the pre-work that needs to be done to vet that, to get ensure the right fit beforehand.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what kind of industry you're in. I know we're sharing like a lot of examples from digital marketing companies, but there can be collaborations with your brand and an influencer. It could be collaborations with your brand and just who you're sharing from things happening in your community, different events, things like that. It doesn't matter if you're a digital marketing company or if you're a brick and mortar location or a SaaS company, whatever, like the same rules apply. Just try to think of like what that looks like for you. Like, and that's one of the internal questions to ask yourself, like, who am I putting my name on the line for, right? Like it's going to have a positive culture credit to the brand or culture debt based upon my sharing, engaging, or supporting this other individual.
Yep.
Like that's kind of the question you need to ask internally too.
That's key. Yeah. So is it gonna take from? Is it gonna add to? Yeah.
Yeah. And because your clients are going to see it, right? Like your clients and customers are going to see it. So it's like, would you be proud of this? If this was up forever, if you're sharing it and what that looks like for you. So,
and the key is this is only going to, the potential for collaborations is only going to continue to grow. Platforms are gearing up. They're enabling, people to get connected in that way. So these are good, hopefully tips that people can take as they move forward, whether it's for their blog, it's for their podcast, it's for a live show, it's an event, all these types of things.
And even on the smallest level with the blog where all of us get in those inbox messages like, hey, would you like a guest post for your blog? I'll write on this. And then I just link it to my website. Well, the free blog writing may seem great, but when they link to that person's website, then what are they going to see? What if they get a download then they put their name and email address in there and now they're getting, spammed by this company that all it started out with, well, I was just trying to get a free blog right out of it. I've heard horror stories of that. So it's anything that is going to make your word, stronger, your relationship stronger, or is it going to add to confusion of who your brand is at its core? Like that's what you really need to question because it's only going to become more and more important. I hate to sound like a broken record every week on here. I'm talking about dark social, but as people are communicating in smaller communities, in the inbox, and they're sharing notes kind of back and forth, if you will, in conversation about who's who and who's doing what, you want to make sure that things are being said about you are positive and that the things that are being shared are really foundational, that go back to who you are, and that there's just a crystal clear clarity and conviction on who you are as a brand and as an individual. And the only way to do that is to align with people that also show up consistently with that clarity and conviction as well. So that's why it's so important to make sure that happens.
Yep. We had a good turnout today here. We had some good people show up here, and we appreciate Tim, Jen. There's all kinds of people there. So Eileen was here. Yes. So
for joining in from all the networks too.
The comments, the interaction that we had there. Most of what's happened on Facebook. We got a little bit of
YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love it. Also, LinkedIn is expanding here on StreamYard to LinkedIn pages. So we'll be adding that on next week's show. So yeah, again, thank you guys for joining with us today. I just want to share my lessons. Like we're none of us are perfect here. We're always learning. So I'm taking my own advice here now and really kind of going back to what I need to do to make sure that this happens, because I never want to disappoint anyone. I'm very big on your word and how you show up and making sure that it's the right messaging and serving, not selling every time. So yeah, I'm excited that you guys tuned in with us. If you want to have the recap, if you jumped in kind of the middle, we will be recapping this in a blog. We publish it each week on nowmarketinggroup.com/blog, where you can get a recap, or you can just sign up to get notified of next week's show. So we'll be back here next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, have a great rest of your week, everyone.
All right. Take care, folks. See ya.
Yeah.